This is Otaku Station, broadcasting our analysis of the cozy science fiction anime series NieA Under 7, Episode 1. So we'll notice the kind of over-the-top comedy here. Not quite totally spastic, but definitely almost like Charlie Brown style art.
It almost seems like they just said, okay, we're going to just lift from the manga page. We're just going to put it on the cell. Because that looks like a manga drawing.
Yeah. And that's the weird thing. This is an original anime. Well, not quite true. Abe did draw manga of this, but I don't think he did it until after the anime came out, or like at the same time as they were making the anime. So I don't know how much this was like Abe drawing the storyboard and then them putting that in.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. It feels very much like manga. Yeah, we don't really get this kind of animation in comedy much anymore. I really enjoy the blasted outline kind of comedy stuff.
All I can think about is like thinking like, well, there goes my room deposit. You know? I mean, it's like the floor is like cratered.
Yeah. Well, I think now we get a lot more of the dirty face and dirty clothes.
Yeah.
And a lot less of like the Tom and Jerry, like, you know, Looney Tunes to the degree.
Right.
Blasted out charcoal sort of shape.
It's the kind of comedy you'd expect from like Nichijou, right?
Yeah.
But Nichijou wouldn't have had a start like this anime had. It would have had there would have been some bizarre punchline to that scene. This feels a lot more grounded. All right, so we see our main character here is cleaning a bathhouse, so definitely a more blue-collar kind of experience, presumably maybe a college-age student who is doing a job to work her way through college. That's kind of the vibe we're getting, maybe?
Yeah, it's you know, it screams circa 1983, the tiles.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, like,
yeah.
But it's lovingly used, and you know, it's a job. Sometimes you don't complain. Sometimes when you need a job, you just need a job.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I enjoy the contrast between her living space, where it's just been blown up.
Yeah.
And then this, like, because the living space is very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have a lot of squash and stretch kind of thing, very cartoony kind of maneuvering, cartoony things happening, and dull background.
Yeah.
And in the wash house, you could have gone kind of more low key, but the mural in the background shows like a nice attention to detail.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so now you get the focus of that as well. It's like, okay, the Niku part, she waited for the price to come down.
Yeah.
The place she works is supposed to look like a reputable business, and it's been drawn to look nice, clean, and her room is a dive.
Yeah.
It's cheap. Mm-hmm. Like, okay. So there's a lot of messages here about her living condition.
Right, which no narrator is telling us. We have to figure it out diegetically. Let's talk about that contrast. There are aliens living all over Japan, but nothing really changes. What?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of interesting early, just towards the beginning, as she's making the food. It said dinner time in the 21st century. So it gives us an idea of when this is happening. So 21st century is now. And, you know, basically, more or less. And so I just love how, like, we see this piece of technology that's kind of cobbled together a little bit. And it looks like it should be doing something. And they're in a room. Basically, just wood room, so it's not like it's high tech or anything. We're not seeing any laptops, by the way. We're not seeing anything like that. And we have an alien, as she's pointing out, living in a closet, nomming on a cat.
Yep.
And we have this nice, gentle music in the background of just saying nothing ever really changes, and we get the idea that this is normal. Mm-hmm. To our eyes, it's not normal, but they're telling us, no, this is just kind of day to day.
Yeah.
The cat screams when the alien bites it. I'm trying to study for school, and and I've got this thing in the corner here that belongs to the alien. I have no idea. That could be a black portal gun. I know black hole gun. I don't know, but
could also be random cardboard boxes stuck with tires.
Right, right.
Hard to tell.
Yeah. Well, and let's also point out that level of detail to the very traditional Japanese environment in the previous scenes of the bathhouse, but then also just the city street with the bus and the book and meat for 100 grams for 100 yen, and now we have aliens thrown into that, but in a way that just makes it feel that it's a very particular vibe for that.
Yeah.
That feels like Lane.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, a little Lane there.
Like, oh wow.
It's also
we all love Lane.
It's also interesting the very digital feel of this drawing. The thick lines, the almost smudges of the eyes, right? Mm-hmm. This feels almost like somebody doing a drawing like for Twitter, Mm-hmm. And this isn't a complaint, but it's a very particular thing. Like there's almost no detail to it. There's the uniform color of the clothing, black, which is a hint, and then just kind of the hair and eyes, and then this, let's be honest, Nausicaa background, right? The Nausicaa effect of a flashback. So we're evoking that, but this is not the kind of thing you would see in an 80s anime or 90s anime, artistically.
Yes, it definitely feels much more like high-end interpretive art.
Yeah.
Where, it's so minimal and yet so particularly done that it's like, okay, you're conveying a greater message than the whole, it's Niku, Yakiniku time. Like, it's totally different here.
Yep, 100%. Actually, to that point, this is our third art style in 4 minutes.
Yeah. So I just have to say, where the heck was that humongous thing in the background during dinner?
We'll find out, actually.
Yes. It was in the fifth corner of the room.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to call out, like looking at it now, the aggressively digital nature of this. This is very early in the transition from hand-painted cells to digital. And she has a single color shirt and single color hair with just a shadow on each, basically. Very minimalist kind of approach to the characters here. Yoshishi Abe character designs, so the eyes are basically single color, none of the almost over-engineered eye colors you get in anime sometimes. So I think it works well here, but it definitely feels of its time.
Is this a thinly veiled commentary on like foreign workers in Japan?
It might be.
It's like we're full of aliens. And there's freeloaders. They're we're not giving you're not giving you food, you freeloaders. Like, wait a minute.
Okay. I also want to call out the storyboarding here, the kind of direction here, that we have Mayuko open that door and exit and go to the right. It's a longer shot in the rain. It really gives you a feel of what it's like when you have a chore to do in the rain, and you've just got to, get your way down this road to get to the place. It's by making it quieter and by making it a longer shot, you feel that sense of isolation and that just, I wish I didn't have to do this when it's pouring.
Mm-hmm. It looks like she's putting on a hazmat suit. Honestly.
Yeah. We also now are realizing she just left her apartment to go down, and this is the bathhouse. So she apparently lives in the bathhouse somewhere. I really want to emphasize here the odd tone of this series, that we keep going back and forth between Mayuko and NieA, sniping at each other, and these very quiet, melancholic moments of Mayuko just thinking. Let's call out what they're telling us through the environment. These are not high rent places.
Working class neighborhood, if you will.
Very much, yep.
Or lower than working class.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of, what was that baseball anime? Giants, Star of the Giants.
Yeah, Star of the Giants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the neighborhood, and it's kind of this isn't as run down as that was in that anime, but it kind of gives that vibe of just like, oh, the patisserie is not going to be around the corner.
Yeah.
The tire store is going to be around the corner. Maybe if you're lucky, a 7-Eleven will be around the corner. You know, that kind of
definitely
vibe.
small town vibes too.
Yeah.
You know, and there we are. You know, the letters hanging off of the theater sign. I do have to call out, and again, I love this show, but giving the characters kind of full color while the entire background is blue makes them really stand out.
Yeah.
So, you know, that character in the background might have been shaded a little bit, you know, more to integrate with everything else. But also, again, this is early days of digital. It's just, you know, I think there were just some wires crossed or whatever. So just got to point this out because I didn't realize it the first time around. She did that in like the pre-dawn hours, right? So she had to get up, deliver the papers. Now she's getting some sleep before the day begins.
Odd comment to make while running by someone.
Yeah.
I think, okay, is this a reference to Alf?
I know, right?
I mean, it's a possibility. Would they have known what Alf was?
Alf famously is an alien that eats cats. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I like it that it's a nice callback to her in the closet chewing on a cat.
Mm-hmm. And now we have the contrast to the early morning work, or I guess the earlier work. But more energetic. It's the morning, so we're moving along.
When I reach back there, I just go,
yeah.
Stop it!
Exactly. And now we get one of the first hints of world building.
That's the kind of what I more expected from the explosion.
Yeah.
Is the dirty, just kind of messed up kind of look. So.
Yeah. But let's call out the pose she's in. Like, have you ever seen an anime character in this pose before? Right? That's a pretty challenging angle to animate a character from, to draw a character from.
Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of them playing around and trying to have fun with proportions and angles and such.
Yeah, I can say that the fingers turned out well, but the way that they managed to animate the angulation is definitely a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
It was kind of also interesting as we're leading up to this scene. People with the little antennas on their heads, and making that distinctive difference. So we have Miyoko, whatever her name is, saying, "You're a freeloader alien." The alien's running by other aliens, and the other aliens are looking at NieA going, "You're less than us.
Yeah,
you're less than us." And it's like, okay, wow,
clearly some prejudice in this world.
Yeah.
But NieA shrugs it off, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If that isn't a Lane shot as well.
Yeah, I know.
Also getting a very post-war feel.
Ooh, interesting.
Out of like as the scenery's kind of going by.
Yeah.
It really doesn't look any different than if you were on a bus in the 1920s or 1930s. It is a very old school kind of looking look. That then segues into when the bus pulls up, it looks much more modern.
And to that point, this is telling us this is not set in Tokyo, or at least not downtown Tokyo.
Right.
You know, this is way, way, way out where there's no modern construction.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, to that point, you know, Mayuko's going to her cram school, so she had to run to get a bus, to get a train.
Yeah. And she had to run a distance in like countryside.
Yeah.
To get to the bus, to get to the train.
I'm sorry, this is Lane.
Yeah.
I do think they are kind of, you know, pulling in that train scene a little bit. I think
her character model feels a little weird.
Yeah. She's even, I think, in the same spot on the train as Lane is in that first episode. All right, so here we have some Japanese politeness here going on, where Chiaki sits down and immediately says, "Use my first name." So I want you to be, you know, informal and friendly with me. We don't need to start off on Komatsu-san or whatever.
Well, body language is also very interesting that Mayu kind of takes... He's looking from below up to Chiaki. Chiaki is coming in as the stronger personality and sitting herself down, looking, not obviously in a bad way necessarily, but looking down to Mayu. Mayu is closed off more. She's got her hands in front of her, kind of more introverted maneuver.
A little bit of a blush on Mayuko's cheeks. Yeah. Definitely, to your point, kind of introverted reaction here.
Yeah.
Also to that point, let's compare their clothes, right? Mayuko has this very simple skirt, very simple top. Chiaki has the kind of the jacket on, very hip, shorter skirt, more modern.
Well, even to their bags.
Yeah.
Mayu just has like a tote bag.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Chiaki has like a messenger bag with buttons on it. It's like, okay,
Yep.
kind of flashy with the arm wristlet things that she's got on both sides.
100%. So let's call out Chiaki's world.
Yeah.
She thinks having a part-time job is this cool thing she has time for. Oh, isn't that neat that you're voluntarily having a part-time job?
Yeah.
To your point, John, see how Mayuko is shrinking down here,
Well, first of all, the introverted reaction that we've seen this the whole conversation here. But I'm the subject of being talked about. Introverts, that is like a panic mode. Why? And what is she told? Oh, because people think your hair is pretty. Oh, people think that blah, blah, blah. Everybody thinks you look really run down and sleepy. Like, oh, wow, you're not helping with the introvert part of it. It's like,
no.
Oh, if you had said something positive, she'd, because you see she's leaning into Chiaki. So she, it gets her kind of, huh? And then she just keeps shrinking the more Chiaki keeps talking.
Yep. 100%.
And there she goes.
Deflating.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chiaki doesn't have much of a filter.
No, she does not. My personal, not pet theory, but headcanon is Chiaki is what would Lane be with good parents.
And without the Jesus and God complex.
Right, exactly.
Well, I wonder, too, if this is a subtle commentary on Mayu's from the country, and she's keeping to herself for the most part, it sounds like, and she's just doing the thing. Chiaki is a city girl.
Yeah.
And she's doing things. She's bopping. She's in people's faces. She's talking to folks she doesn't normally have a conversation with. And that's just not, you know what I mean? It's the clash between country versus city.
Yeah. Yeah. City mouse, country mouse.
Yeah.
I think you're right. To your point.
Yeah.
Mayu with the drained eyes while Chiaki's going, boy, this is hot.
Yeah.
Actually, look at Chiaki's wrist watch as well. Very flashy.
It's like a Swatch watch.
The way that moves is exactly like the Ohm in Nausicaa. The skittering movement.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, not the Ohm. The fake boars in Princess Mononoke, where they can slither along the ground.
Yeah.
Interesting. And that would have come out a couple of years before this, I think. So maybe that was kind of a bit of a reference.
I think the way that it entered the trash pile is such an interesting compromise to heighten the suddenness of it and the shock of it.
Yeah.
Without having to animate that entire pile of trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it just disappears, basically. A little bit of movement, but like nothing else really has to be changed in that shot for like a couple of things. So it's like, okay, we know where we're going with this. We're going to use this as kind of a weird thing and save ourselves a little animation.
Yeah. The subtitle of NieA Under 7 is Domestic Poor Animation. So that is kind of a theme here. So to be clear, this isn't just, what are you doing here? This is, she's just made a new friend.
Yeah.
And so Chiaki comes out and sees this weird girl collecting trash. That's not going to look good for Mayu. So.
Yeah, because if you have someone who's like basically dressed in a garbage and sunglasses with a thing on their back full of like recyclables and going, I'm Mayu's friend. Of course, you're probably going to be like rethinking wanting to be associated with Mayu.
Exactly.
Well, we don't, as yet, have an explanation. Like, why is Mayu saddled with NieA?
Right.
Her personal space And what do we know about Japanese people in personal space?
Mm-hmm.
You invade it, and it's not a good day. It's it's interrupting their lives.
Mm-hmm.
NieA's interrupting her home life.
Yeah.
She's struggling to try and study to actually do her job, and this is causing her all kinds of problems. Now NieA has just invaded a space where she was doing this specific thing.
Yeah. Social space.
And it's just, and it's just like, oh wow, okay. So this, you can see how that NieA is this interrupting force again. Strange people coming into your personal space and interrupting your wa.
Yep.
Wow, that was a really different animation style there. Like, holy.
Yeah, they really went for it there.
And it's adorable. I mean, it's really it's actually adorable. It's funny.
There we go. Mayu's nightmare.
Yeah.
Chiaki's excited at an alien.
Yeah.
Because on her bag, when Chiaki first comes out and talks to Mayu, one of the buttons is a big spaceship pin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, at first, her being like, "Oh, that's so cool! You're so lucky." It's like, why would you be excited? Because you gave us a visual hint earlier that you're kind of sort of into that. Like, okay, fair.
Yep.
She's not just bubbly and insane.
So, at this point, I just want to say, did you not see the alien in the garbage pile?
I also really appreciate, and this is something that this creative team does a lot. This is a very natural pose that you don't see a lot in animation or other things. You know, that kind of hand on cheeks thing, especially with the mouth slightly off. It's just very casual. And it really gives off this kind of perfect vibe. So you mentioned she might be into aliens there, John.
Slightly?
Yeah.
Was Alienware even a thing at that time this was made?
Good question. I don't know.
I mean, that, to me, it screams Alienware laptop.
True. So I like this because it's just buildings. Clearly there was no Zentradi invasion here.
Well, it also gives, we now have somebody else's perspective on like how things didn't change.
True.
And it's like, it heightens genuinely the background mystery to like, what exactly happened that nothing changed? Well, usually an alien, crew showing up, it's like world panic, there's things going on. It's like, you guys are really well adjusted. So are we going to get to the core of this? It's all, like, what's going on?
Well, what we know, what little we know so far is, we have NieA, who's living in a closet, nomming on the kitten. Then we see that there are other aliens with antenna, which means something, and they see themselves superior to her, even though she's an alien just like them. Because otherwise, they have the pointy ears and that facial structure.
Elfie.
And yes, and as they were running through, we see a crater, and then and I forget who it was. Was it the new friend who mentioned something about the crater since the crater happened? So obviously there's something in there. But to your point, John, we're just like, aliens are here. We should be, if anything, it should be like to serve man, right? And or something, and we should be seeing. Well, it's like in Kowloon generic romance. There's a thing in the sky. Everyone takes it for granted, but there's a thing in the sky, right?
Yep.
Here it's just like, oh yeah, it's building.
Yeah,
we got aliens serving parfait.
Life goes on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like, well, humans are so adaptable.
That's what makes them so delicious.
How do they taste? Depends on the person.
So much no right there.
So much
Oh, she's just revealing all the secrets, isn't she?
Exactly.
We won't have to eat barley and millet anymore. Oh, shut up.
As we're moving from the city to the country, we get the music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it's a twang, twang, twang. It's this very, hi, welcome to the sticks kind of music happening. And we see this, and she's loving it because she lives in the city. So, if you see the same skyline every morning, yes, I can understand why that would be boring. And you come to see this, and you're like, okay, great. and oh my god, it's a bathhouse. It's a bathhouse. Mia's just like going, yeah. Do you know what I have to clean out of the drains in this place? Do you understand what this is?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that as they showed the picture of the so-called mothership, I'm just like, what if that's just a great big alien bus that just broke down?
Yeah, it certainly feels like this is Alien Nation.
Yeah,
right from
yeah.
They just crash landed here and now they're here.
Now they do service jobs and live in bad neighborhoods.
Apparently.
Chiaki totally reminds me of the people that go to the farm vacations.
Oh, yeah.
Where they go from like New York City and LA and they go out someplace like Nebraska and they're like, wow, it's a cow. Like, isn't this fun? We get up at 5 a.m. and we muck out stalls and like,
Let's call out here how open Mayu is being for a conversation with somebody she basically met today.
Yeah.
So she's getting back kind of that introvert thing of like, what do I say? I'm just going to be honest and put it out there. You also get the sense that Mayu doesn't seem to have a lot of other friends, so she really values this.
And kudos that Chiaki didn't like say anything like, oh my gosh, that's so sad for you. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, good. You played that nicely where it's like you had her character hear it, absorb it, and then they move on. Mm-hmm. Like, well, thank you.
Yeah. A little old-fashioned. True.
True.
Yeah. Accurate. You see the sink in the back right, and the kettle there, and then to the left of that, a box with a cushion on it. And then the cabinet and the closet. So that is her entire apartment, apparently.
I mean, we don't know for sure like what's going on the wall with us. That's
right.
Where the viewer from. But there is a single socket and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. We know she has a desk lamp because we saw her when she's studying. But it's like, wow, this is Spartan. To say the least.
Yep. Boy, is that camera of its era.
Yeah.
Neon pink.
Yeah.
I like the fact that at least it's digital. You know what I mean? It's
true.
like,
To also call out that Chiaki does have kind of the lane braid. So.
Yeah.
I love the fact that loss of power equals explosion.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to just turning off.
Yeah.
You know?
At first, I was like thinking that it just sets into the hole so great that it's like, okay, here's the roof repair.
It plugs the hole. Yeah.
No, we're just gonna
even worse. So that is episode 1 of NieA Under 7. What stood out to you guys?
The fact that there wasn't much standing out. Honestly, no. But in seriousness, it's just very slow moving, or not in a bad way, but it's slow moving, and we're instead of getting the aliens came and they wrecked our world, or the aliens came and they were trying to benefit mankind was trying to benefit. None of that. It was just like the aliens came, a thing happened. We're looking at this and we're thinking that maybe it was a drunk driver. I don't know. They crashed into the earth and these people and these aliens are living here. They're making a life. And, it's funny you bring up Alien Nation, that movie, I think it was 1989, where it's literally that, where people are trying to figure out how to do this. There's no talk about, we need to go back to the homeworld to save our homeworld because against the evil Gorgon king, whatever. And there's none of that. None of that is going on. And we're dealing, actually, what we're more concerned about, I think, to me anyway, is Miyu's slot in life right now. And, things are hard, like really hard. Yeah. And, there's I wouldn't call it like a very tragic backstory, but it's, it's a story that, you go, okay, she had a loving parent who died, and she's trying to make her own way in the world, and it ain't easy. And this is 2001, so this is probably, I don't know where the bubble burst on in Japan around this time, but she's just having a hard time. And the fact that she has this freeloader alien as comic relief is kind of interesting. But we're not vested in the fact of, it's an alien and we need to know more. We need to know more in relation to what this is going on with this particular woman in her time, in her difficult time.
Yeah, it's slice of life with aliens.
Yeah,
sort of. Yeah,
which doesn't seem like you would connect very well, but it's very much that.
Well, it's very interesting talking about Lane-ish looks that occur in this, where it is still. I'm still not sure. Watching the different animation styles and watching some of the, it goes cutesy, then it gets real rubbery, and then it gets Tom and Jerry, and then it gets like Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes. I'm like, I don't know tonally where I'm supposed to be going with this. Like, is it my life is rough and I'm fighting my way up from the bottom to make a better future for myself, and there happen to be aliens?
Yeah.
Or is it, this is, society. It's adapted so well. We've got all these things going on. This is my life amidst all the aliens and other people. It's like, what? I don't know where to go tonally on this.
Yeah. And it keeps shifting throughout the episode. Like a lot of shows that will do this, you might have normal slice of life and then the twist at the end of the episode. Like, oh, wow, something's going on. It keeps shifting tones every couple of minutes throughout this first episode.
And I think that's a way to kind of explain away the banality of the aliens being on Earth. And because as the episode goes, we get we get a little bit more of information as we go along. Craters related to them. There's the mothership. These people are working jobs. There's apparently a stratification of culture within the aliens.
Yeah.
And which have the weird Teletubby antenna on them. But one of the things also, what a key important information that comes out towards the end here is that this is something that happened a while ago.
True.
Not centuries ago, but we're talking like maybe 10, 15 years
She says
ago.
before she was born.
Yeah.
So 20 years at least.
Yeah.
And from what we see from the crater, there looks like it's grown grass. It's sort of more natural looking.
So having the aliens kind of be part of society at this point would seem normal, and it kind of begs the question. Obviously we have questions here. Why did they crash land? How did this happen? Was it an accident? And there is no push, or possibly there may not be a push to leave the Earth at this point.
Right. Yeah. You certainly have little alien kids hanging out at the crater, just playing in what appears to be the beginning of the day. So seems pretty normal.
Seems almost kind of like the aliens might be immigrants who have moved in, and they're occupying levels of society like anybody who would be living in the town or in the city. And how are they integrating into society after they've emigrated from wherever the heck they're from? And it seems like they're integrating pretty well, except for NieA, who's NieA's just
NieA's special. All kinds of special. But that's a good point, John. And to add on to that this is kind of like assimilating in society after all this time, after they crash landed. And what we notice is that the only racism that we really see is from alien on alien. Like, even though her new friend is like all about the aliens and all this stuff, nobody's being treated improperly or bad or dismissed or denigrated or anything like that. So it just seems like, or at least at this point in the story. So it's not like, everyone's just kind of like, oh my God, like in Alienation where, they all have to live in this one area because they're all aliens and we don't, none of that.
No mixing.
No mixing. But to your point, John, there's the server. There's the kids playing out there.
Yeah.
Nobody, and even though this girl from Tokyo hasn't seen that many aliens, the reaction is not one of, it's more of along the lines of, oh, hey, I'm something new.
Well, there's also the mystery of Chiaki says, I have trouble telling them apart from humans.
Yes. Well, yeah.
It's very clear the difference between the two. So is something going on with the aliens and humans where they're masking themselves in some way, or there's something that's like changing how humans see the aliens.
Or have they been here long enough to have started to fall in love and have families, and they lose whatever aspect makes them, the antennas maybe go away. Maybe NieA is something of the new type,
right?
Where she no longer has an antenna,
Could be.
and now you can't really. She's got still the elf ears, but how long does that take before you have more human shaped ears? Who knows?
Yeah.
I meant to say when NieA was piloting the spacecraft, I got a very Bebop feeling.
Oh, interesting.
When she's like lifting off, she's got the glasses on, and she's like, "Hey, want to go for a ride?" I'm like, it feels very Bebop-ish.
That's a good point.
And I'm like, okay,
yep, that was 3 years prior, so could very easily have been an inspiration.
It's no Swordfish too, but
no, it isn't. Yeah, no. Nor will it be, I think.
Yeah.
At this point.
Not now.
I also want to call out the portrayal of being a poor college student. Somebody who's a fan of the show has said this is the most sort of heart accurate. This feels most like being a poor college student of any anime he'd seen up to this point. That thing of you gotta do whatever it takes to make the money to do that. You're scraping by with whatever deals you can get at the grocery store or what have you. They do capture that really effectively here.
I can appreciate boiling meat because it had spoiled.
Oh, wow.
Make it edible. So that is there's a lot to be said for if you take the bus fare out and you only have this left, that's what you have. It's like, you don't generally get too much depth of that kind of thing. Like, you have somebody be like, "Oh, bimbo," like, I'm poor. And it's like, but you don't generally delve into it sensitively. It's the comedic moment of "I'm poor," and then you move on from that. It's like this deals with it well, and I think with a light hand.
A light, realistic hand. What I was, as you were talking, John, and talking about making things stretch out, boiling meat and stuff like that, thinking of my own experiences. Never had to boil meat, but understanding how, like you're saying, you look at your wallet and you go, you know what? We're gonna be sober skipper this weekend, and we're not gonna buy beer, right? It's one of those things where you have to, mine was not nearly as dire as hers, but there's that point where you kind of do the budget thing of looking at your wallet and knowing this is what has to do for the next 7 days, right? And you have to figure that out. And so, like, when she gets that surprise visit of that new friend, and the new friend is like, immediately her mind goes to, maybe if I don't eat the bologna sandwich for 2 days in a row, I'll have the drink, right? And kind of a thing. And you're right, it does do it in a very sensitive, non-judgmental way, in a way that people of different areas of that, having been college students of different wealth statuses, where people can kind of identify that a little bit. And and one of the things I wanted to point out was, of today's viewers who are watching this right now, or are going to watch this, and you see her doing the newspaper route, being doing the newspaper thing. Who does that anymore? I mean, I'm sure that happens nowadays, but this isn't something. But again, this is, John, as you're saying, what do I have to do to survive? Why don't we get up at 3:30 a.m. in the morning? After I've been studying all night, go out in the rain and deliver these newspapers.
To that point, they tell us,
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, there it is.
This is
5:04.
5:04 in the morning. I also want to call out, just from kind of an art perspective, when she talks about the yen. I'll see if I can find it here again. So from an art perspective, these are photographs of real coins.
Mhm.
It's not drawings. And I think that adds a level of realism to this concept where she's not just thinking abstractly about money. She's thinking very concretely about these things that she only has a few of. I just like how that makes it a little more concrete. It's interesting also when you think about how much this episode covers, in the sense of you get to understand Ryuko's social situation, the fact that she's going to cram school, she meets Chiaki, NieA's freeloading, NieA's very hungry, and Chiaki's kind of a alien nut, a UFO nut. We get some backstory about the mothership, but we're also getting all of this comedy layered in. Like they do manage to set up this premise pretty well in this first episode, where it's not that little tease of what's going on. You feel, there are a lot of unanswered questions, obviously, but it doesn't feel like it's just a tease for that whole first episode.
Right. I also, the more I think about Chiaki inviting Mayu out to go, I'll cover all the expense.
Yeah.
Mayu, being the introverted Japanese person, sits at that table and she has next to nothing.
Yeah.
Even though somebody else is paying.
Mm-hmm. She orders iced tea.
Then the foreign person, aka alien, goes wild on the other person's dime and gets this big fancy fruit and ice cream thing.
Yeah, fruit parfait.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's really interesting that are you intending to show that sort of
ugly
resource
American, in a sense, kind of.
That's what I was trying not to say that, but the resource grasping, greedy, in your face, pushy kind of foreign person versus the Japanese person who is very accepting of the offer and is very demure and kind about how they are impacting another person's finances because they know how their finances are.
Yeah. NieA is blonde.
Yep.
Right. She is also just a lot more free-spirited, right? Which is stereotypically a thing that people talk about, foreigners to Japan being in a way that's impolite. So I think you can definitely read that.
I will say I had a flashback to the I forget the name of the anime where it's the Immortal Bum that we watched recently.
Oh yeah.
And his reaction to where they go, well, here's some liver. It's probably not anything. It's just like, protein, yes. And that's kind of the reaction she had. Parfait, yes. Oh God, this is so good.
It is a pretty amazing parfait too, I have to say.
Yeah. And considering she finished it in the time it took the camera to come around the other perspective, where it's like, what did you do? How did you go? Chiaki reminds me of those kids we ran into in Ozu. That they were willing to see two foreign people, two aliens, and come up and say hi.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's the type of personality Chiaki is.
Yeah.
Where it's like she is enthralled with the idea of like this alien other thing and is willing to I want to do the mothership. I want to get there. I want to do these things. Where it's like Mayu has a freeloading weirdo in her closet. She lives within visual distance of a galactic spaceship, and she does not give a livid hoot about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's got a goal, and none of the rest of that makes any difference to how she's got to get to that goal. It's like,
which also tells us a lot about Chiaki, right? Like she's probably not paying her way through cram school, right?
Yeah.
She's got a lot of free time. She's updating her website all the time. So there's that certain level. And again, one of the things I appreciate about the show is they're not also setting it up as class warfare, right? It's not like Chiaki's a bad person. It's just that that's her situation she's coming from. and that gives her her perspective on things.
A worldview of I don't think of tofu as dessert.
Yeah.
But her is kind of interesting, as we were kind of remarking how she goes, oh wow, you have a job. I once had a friend who told me that her grandfather told her, delay working as much as you possibly can, because once you start working, you work for the rest of your life.
Oh, interesting.
So that's why she didn't get a job until this was back when I was in college. So she didn't get a job until she was in college because she didn't want to have to work for the rest of her life. And there's some wisdom in that. And
Sure.
You look at somebody like that, and like you see that this is not a bad person, but the living condition is definitely different. It's coming from a different worldview, where the parents probably feel that, oh well, if we want our daughter to get into university, she's going to have to go to cram school, so we're going to have to pay for that. We're probably going to say to her, "You're not allowed to have a job."
Right.
That kind of thing. So because
your
we
job
want you to kind of study to get to college, so you can get the good job.
Yeah. And in fairness, like that's typically the point of cram school, right? You are giving up time to go to cram school so you can get into the college. It's not meant to be an adjunct to a job.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't prep you for work. It preps you for school to then get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's another thing I appreciate about the show is that we're getting 3 people with very different personalities and viewpoints on the world who all get together. And obviously, Mayuko and NieA's relationship is somewhat strained. But there's not that sense that these people are thrown together purely for hilarity to ensue. That there's a genuine relationship forming between Chiaki and Mayuko, and that there's kind of there's a gentleness and a sweetness to how all this is coming together. It's not manufactured purely for comedic effect or just for plot reasons.
You don't have the tsundere. You don't have the
True. Yeah.
They have kind of a good personality collection that feels less tropey. So.
Yes, good point. I hadn't even thought about that. These are not tropey characters. NieA's a little bit of the spastic little kid character. I'll admit, but still, she goes searching for scrap, right? So she has
natural thing.
Any
she doesn't need Ritalin.
No.
She's the lollygoth. No, she is not.
No, she is not. I also just want to call out the end credits for the fact that, like, you see this, you're not sure what it is, and then you realize that's the bathhouse, and it's brand new. Or at least in better shape. And you look at the actual outfits of the characters, and it looks more old school clothing on the various people.
Is it? I don't think it's Taisho era.
No, but it looks like mid-century maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they're very very Western clothing for that.
100%. Well, and also like that's Mayuko as a baby, right?
Right.
And that's presumably her mother. And then you start to get more, and you see the countryside, which hasn't changed at all.
Yeah.
Really. And then you start getting the images of Mayuko as a child. And what's interesting too is she's not running around giggling. Right? She's kind of quiet, introverted. It's a very somber, really, set of images of Mayuko, and you get the sense that she's not unhappy, but she is one of those quiet, introverted kids. That is very much personality, and of course,
and a good shot of her, watch of the dad's watch.
There we go. But yeah, and then transitioning to modern, and just that image, and this is again what I think these folks do so well, is that contemplative expression on her face, that sense of what is my future, is what I get from that shot. And then of course the wind blows and she looks, and we get a bit of a smile. So, a hint of good things to come, hopefully. But definitely kind of thought-provoking end credits.
Well, she kind of in this corner of the world.
Mm-hmm.
She vaguely reminds me of
point.
the protagonist from that,
Yeah.
where it's like she's not carefree, obviously.
No.
She's very focused on what she has to do, and she's very quiet about her focus on doing it, despite the fact that she has to, like throw NieA into the closet and scream at her to wake up. But you get these moments, like you're saying, where it's like, you could see she's contemplating things. They've really conveyed that well in the art, and made her an approachable character, and yet someone who has really kind of interesting boundaries.
Yeah.
Where NieA crosses those boundaries every 10 seconds. But to that point, Chiaki also crosses those boundaries.
True.
Not in the same kind of way the hell over the line, but like just enough to bring Mayu out from her safe zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%. It's like she's just the right friend Mayu needs.
Yeah.
Right? As someone to draw her out, but is not pushy in the way NieA is.
And I think we see that Mayu has a good relationship with the bathhouse repair guy.
True. Yeah.
She has a good relationship with the people in her town.
Mm-hmm.
The lady she delivers to that's there at 5 a.m. and says, thanks, thanks, honey, be safe.
Mm-hmm.
But Chiaki is the person that's her age that she needs to sort of figure her space out.
To that point, we think back to all of the Rumiko Takahashi, anime and manga which have similar kind of setup. Mezone Koku, right, or Norisa Yatsura. In contrast to that, where everybody's bouncing off everybody else, everybody loves Mayuko, right? NieA and she have a complicated relationship, but other than that, we have had nobody who is pushing Mayuko, having anything problem. She has this very strong cast of characters around her in terms of their relationships as far as we can see so far. It was nice seeing an episode, and again, there's nothing against Rumiko Takahashi, obviously. It's just, it is, if you're setting up a story to be lots of wacky comedy, it makes sense to have everybody bouncing off each other. Right. This is giving us a much more laid-back vibe, a much more kind of slice-of-life vibe, gentle vibe.
Grounded in a lot of respects.
Yeah.
Despite the fact there's aliens.
Yeah.
It also, that you're saying that is really interesting to think of the contrast between Chiaki and Mayu from, like Steve was talking about, having the job and not having the job. It's the not having to have the job means there's support behind Chiaki. So she is interested and motivated to find stuff about aliens. We don't know what her interest and motivation is for cram school.
True.
She's just going to cram school. She doesn't have to work. So you might be able to infer that her parents are saying, go to cram school.
Yeah.
So she goes. Mayu is doing all of this with her mom or whoever family is left, her father's gone.
Yep.
Nobody's behind her.
Yeah.
She is doing everything she can by just her own drive to move forward.
And you get that, I think, strongly represented in this beginning where Mayuko is going out to do the papers. She has all this work to do. She's coming back, falling asleep. Like, there's nobody else, to your point.
Yeah. Nobody pushes her but herself. Yeah. And it's interesting that NieA and Chiaki represent different types of push for her character.
Good point.
For growth.
Yeah. NieA, perhaps not the healthiest, but that's fine.
There's a lot to be said, I think, for Mayu probably without NieA would encounter very few emotional highs. So that NieA, for what she is and who she is and how she is, provides spice. You know what I mean? It gives her something that makes the day different that she wouldn't normally have.
Yeah.
I think half the time Mayu is probably going, "How do I get away? How do I get away?"
But it feels like, and there's been other shows that do this too, where it's like the person's like, I can't stand this person. Person goes away, and person now is like, I couldn't stand them, but I wonder, where are they? I wonder what they're doing. You know,
I need somebody to yell at.
Yeah, it's like Mayu. It kind of feels like you can imagine plucking NieA out of there, and that Mayu, it would lose an element that Mayu has adapted to, but also come to sort of integrate into her life. There's spice that happens on a fairly frequent basis, more frequently than she would like, but she would lose something by not having that.
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah, it's really interesting to see how you balance all these characters off of each other, right? Because there's also an element too of Mayu being an introvert, or at least being portrayed with introverted qualities, and how NieA is the catalyst for her to have to interact with somebody.
Yeah.
Right. I think kind of to your point, John, where it's like, because Mayu's had to deal with NieA, when Chiaki sits down next to her, Mayu doesn't completely clam up and just drop into a hole.
Right.
So, yeah, there's layers here to these characters, which is kind of cool. I also wonder if Chiaki isn't going to cram school because she has to. Her grades may not be great. So,
but again, there has to be somebody back there. She's not. Again, she's not working. Cram school's not free.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, she's going to cram school more for her grades than because she. Yeah.
I'm not as smart as Mayu.
Yeah.
And that last semester, I probably should not have gone out so much. So,
well, there's also a question, and
when do you think Chiaki's going to ask? Can we study at your house?
Right.
It feels like that's coming.
Yeah, there's a vibe here that she may have sat down with Mayuko, partly because smartest girl in class. This might help my grades a little bit. And she doesn't have the vibe of somebody who's that mercenary, but there may have been something about that involved.
No.
All right, that's NieA Under 7 episode 1, and we will continue on from this and watch a few more episodes, I think, and dig deeper. It's worth calling out the provenance of NieA Under 7, that it was made by much of the staff of the legendary anime series Serial Experiments Lain. For those not familiar, Lain is this weird, deep psychological anime series. It's quite dark, quite intense, and after making it, one of the producers on that and one of the kind of chief minds behind it suggested that the staff take a break from that to make something more lighthearted, and that became NieA Under 7. Now, the character designer for Lain was also the person who kind of came up with the basic idea for NieA, kind of built the characters. There's a lot of collaboration on this, I think, more. But you get that staff kind of coming up with something just kind of to have something fun to make, it seems like. So you get much of the staff of Lain working on NieA Under 7. And I think you see bits of that. You see it a bit in the opening credit sequence, which has a bit of a Lain feel, a little unsettling at times. And you see that sometimes in the intensity of some of the shots, the kind of quick cuts in some places. But otherwise, this feels very relaxing, specifically for that reason. It is a chill thing, and it's one of the things I really like about it.